What is going on, everybody? This is Gabriel Jones giving you a drop of sun any chance I get, and welcome to the first half of November. I hope everyone has been having a good start to the month. I sure know that a bunch of New York voters have. Go Mom Donnie. But yeah, it's really nice to finally get really deep into the autumn season because, oh boy, there's a lot of stuff coming up. We got Thanksgiving on the way, and Black Friday, of course, is always super eventful for a lot of people. Although I'm hearing that it's not quite the disaster that it was in previous years, which I think is only a good thing, because I don't want people to get toppled over because they want new plasma TVs. But I'm feeling very jazzed because we got some brand new music to talk about today. I think we're in for a bit of a dramatic episode due to the content that we're discussing in this episode. But as always, I like to keep it a bit lighthearted because I don't want the tears to flow too badly. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun today. I think I've done enough preambling with this video already, so why don't we just jump into the music discussion. I hope you're feeling snug in your coat because the sun is up for the sum up. Today's video is focusing on an artist who I haven't discussed on the channel in quite some time. We got a new record from Spanish performer ROSALÍA, and this one is titled Lux. I don't think I need to give a full-on history report on ROSALÍA, because I've talked about her in several other videos. She's been a big name in music ever since 2018, dominating charts all across the globe, especially her home country of Spain. It doesn't seem like I've missed too much about her career over the past year or so, except maybe the news that she'll be appearing in Euphoria in 2026. I'm sure Sadie Sweeney will be the most thrilled about that news. The last major album ROSALÍA dropped was Dopamine, which received widespread critical acclaim and even scored her a Grammy win for Best Latin Rock or Alternative Album. 3 years later, we now have the release of Lux, which is being described as more operatic and artsy. Did ROSALÍA pull off another masterpiece with her fourth album? Grab your motorcycle helmet because we're in for a fun ride. We'll be getting back to ROSALÍA in just a few moments, but for now I want to give you my 4 to blast for this half of November. These are songs that I think could do a lot to shake up the charts or really impress listeners, so you guys should really give them a shot. I'm feeling pretty thrilled about today's batch because few of them are from artists that I've been enjoying for quite some time. So enough with the chit chat. Without further ado, here is my 4 to blast. The first on the list is Past Won't Leave My Bed by Joji. To be honest, I'm not really a fan of Joji's pixelated kisses because the heavy bass doesn't agree with my ears too well. But I'm happy to say that I enjoy his other new single, Past Won't Leave My Bed. Constructed as a ballad, Joji opens with a gentle, echoing piano before his voice intensifies and he's joined by a drum and shredding guitar. He sings dramatically about missing a former lover and how comfortable they would lay together while asleep. He expresses how difficult it is to erase her memory because she was such a beautiful presence. I have to give the guitarist props on this song because they're able to make it feel epic in scale. We even get some wonderful cymbals that sweep us into a sea of sadness as Joji plays the final notes on his piano. Piss in the Wind is a very amusing title for an upcoming album, but Past Won't Leave My Bed offers anything but silliness. The next song is Out the Window by Kehlani. Despite being a prominent figure in R&B for many years, Kehlani didn't see any substantial runs in the Hot 100 until Folded, which has now peaked in the top 10. There's a good chance her next song, Out the Window, can also climb that high. Kehlani wrote this as an apology song, acknowledging how toxic and neglectful she's been of her partner, and how much strain that's put on their romance. She's even struggling to communicate with them, being sent to voicemail on phone calls and receiving the silent treatments. Kehlani realizes the relationship requires the right elements in order to be revived, trust serving as a big one. The R&B sound is silky smooth, with her relying on mellow keyboards, chimes, and violins. As you can guess, Kehlani lets her voice do so much flexing, showing off how clean and powerful it is. I'm sure R&B fans will be so enamored with Out the Window, it'll set the roof on fire. Up next is Palaces by Louis Tomlinson. Speaking of artists I haven't talked about in years, we got a new single from Louis Tomlinson. I've been very fond of his indie rock sound, and Palaces is proof that he's not giving it up. The song is written with a hasty tempo, making the listener feel as if Louis is rushing down the cobbles and taking in the city air. Elevating it is chanting backup vocals, a funky bass guitar, and of course, a tambourine. This shows Louis in a night on the town, feeling the need to chase someone he knows because it could lead to an exciting evening. I'm tempted to call this a rehash of Silver Tongues, but I don't consider it a demerit because Louis is able to make these songs feel so joyous. Getting wild and embracing the fun you share with your friends is a theme that's become so important to his music. While Louis Tomlinson has had a rough year, I'm glad he's still releasing songs, especially ones as happy as Palaces. Our final song in the Four to Blast is Dopamine by Robyn. I don't think I've ever talked about this, but I've been a big fan of Robyn for many years. She's been a favorite of mine ever since 2010 when she released the iconic Dancing on My Own, which is a massive staple of my youth. The same goes for Hang With Me and Call Your Girlfriend. Now she's done it again with Dopamine. The song hears Robyn basking in the joy of meeting someone who gives her a momentary high. She understands that she'll come back to reality soon, but insists that the two of them might share a deeper connection than the other person realizes. The production is very intricate and easily hypnotizes the listener, especially when it sprinkles in unique percussion sounds during the choruses. It really takes me back to the Body Talk era, and that might be due to her working with Claus Allen once again. Also, we see Tayo Cruz credited as a songwriter, which is very cool. Speaking of which, my favorite part might be the second verse because Robyn is so lost in her ecstasy, she doesn't even bother to rhyme. It's these charming elements that make Dopamine worth the listener's time. Be sure to give all those singles a listen because I think they could bring a ton of pizzazz to the industry. I especially need my girl Robyn to shine more. Like, come on, come on. You need some Swedish pop in your life, people. But with that out of the way, we're gonna get back to discussing ROSALÍA's Lux. When I heard about this new record, I was inspired to revisit her 2022 release. At the time ROSALÍA dropped Motomami, it was monumental for her because it showed all sorts of different sides to her. We got to look at her willingness to blend sounds, glamorous fashion, appreciation for Asian culture, and complex view of fame. It felt like her personality all packed into a 42-minute album. With Lux, it feels like ROSALÍA is taking the album as a chance to really show off how strong her singing can be. In addition, the singer finds herself playing with themes of religion, for she wants to find her place between a physical world and a spiritual world. The record is full of holy stories to communicate her relationship with the almighty force. She then connects it to her art and femininity, and how it helps her navigate the world, which becomes apparent on tracks like La Jugular and La Perla. Since the album takes a more operatic approach, it allows ROSALÍA to utilize orchestral sounds, creating an elegant, lively production. At times, I feel like I'm sitting in the front row seat of the theater as she puts on an epic play. Yet ROSALÍA still adds some of her experimental sounds from Motomami, with the hard-pounding drums and the hip-hop features. Lux is a genuinely gorgeous album, and perhaps it could bring someone closer to the Lord. The final track, Magnolia, certainly made me feel like I was levitating towards heaven. I will say, though, that I can't see myself listening to any single track separate from the rest of the LP, since each one plays into the other. But still, ROSALÍA was graceful throughout the listen, and for all we know, she could be hitting up JJ for a duet. Yeah, Lux was very impressive to hear from ROSALÍA. But like I said before, I might not return to it that much because it's just so heavy-hitting. But yeah, if I ever want to feel spiritual, perhaps I'll return to it. Now to close out the video, I'm going to give you my artist on the rise for the first half of November. This is someone who I think could really break into the industry and leave a huge impression on the general public. With how much indie and rock has been re-emerging within the mainstream, this might be the perfect time to shout them out. So, without further ado, my artist on the rise for the first half of November is Blondshell. Born as Sabrina Teitelbaum, Blondshell originates from New York City and grew up in Los Angeles. She was exposed to rock music at a young age and listened to artists like the Rolling Stones and Amy Winehouse. She's been releasing material since 2022, with her music having a distinct indie sound and focusing on themes like romantic longing and complicated parent-child relationships. I was amazed to find that Blondshell has worked with Gigi Perez and even wrote songs with John Newman. Getting to work with industry big names like them is impressive. One song that's worth highlighting is Berlin TV Tower, where Blondshell sings about the time she spent in the German city, taking note of her surroundings and feeling comfortable alone. I know the charts have been welcoming more rock music over the past few years, so I think Blondshell deserves a shot at joining that club. I'm telling you guys, Blondshell could do a lot to shake up the Hot 100, if not the US rock charts, because boy, she's got some good stuff to offer. But I think with all that said, we're just about finished here. Thank you guys so much for joining me on another episode of The Sum Up. I had some fun with this one, I hope you did as well. I'm gonna go outside and enjoy the autumn air because fall just hits so differently when you're living in the Northeast, like let me tell you. In the meantime though, if you want to follow me on social media, be sure to check out my Blue Sky, my Twitch, and my TikTok links will be in the description, and that's where we are wrapping up today. My name is Gabriel Jones, and the sun may be setting, but I hope you were able to soak up those drops. Take care.